Hi there, welcome to the second deck chat hosted by Screech-Bomb Commentaries. Once again, I'm David Baron Bon Fabulous Lark. This is my co-commentator.
Callum, the good Doctor Young.
And do you want to tell us who we've got in our second game of today? These are the
Yeah,
blue
so
players, I
second,
believe.
indeed, blue players from the final. We have Rob1k representing Can't Touch This, and IrieDaily representing the Hamburg Atlanteans. And we're going to start with Rob1k's deck, which Google Translate tells me is called Sly Losing Marek.
Clearly not been losing
But
much though to get here, has it, Callum?
no, it probably is pretty good at winning. And we see a very KOTE deck. At this point, I think anyone watching is probably reasonably familiar with KOTE, Dis, Shadows, Untamed, and they will all do the things they do pretty well.
Yeah, I think
So,
the big thing your eyes are drawn to here is the 34 expected Ember.
yeah, that is very fast. There's a lot of Ember. 19 of it is just on cards. So if you just play all of the cards in this deck, you've generated enough Ember to win the game.
Yeah, I think modern keyboards generally has gotten a lot of kind of respect for the efficiency stat of it, and this is minus 0.3. But again, when you've got most of your cards have Ember Pits on, you don't massively care about the efficiency because you're just playing good cards every turn.
Yep, and the Untamed has your Untamed Rush, Double Hunting Witch, Dust Pixie, a Regrowth to bring those back, several other things with pips on.
Yep. Also,
Interestingly, lacking a key cheat.
notably as well, Teliga, a rare. Each time your opponent plays a creature, gain 1. If you can't get rid of that, really hampers your opponent's turns. Don't want to give you Ember by playing creatures.
Yeah, no Key Charge or Chota, which could be a weakness, but is still going to generate a lot of Ember very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in a matchup against Mass Mutation, which is what we see here, where kind of mass amber control is less of a thing. Maybe this is where this deck has
Yeah,
really been shining in those
it just
situations.
doesn't really matter if you have 12 Ember.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing too bad that can happen to you. But if your opponent has 12 Ember, boy, is something bad probably going to happen to
Yeah,
them.
as we see,
So if we go to the
too much to
shadows,
protect here.
double too much to protect.
Steal all but
So
6 your opponent's Ember.
just
Also, the
put them
Nerve
back
Blast
down.
and the potentially the Relentless Whispers as well to take your opponent off check after that. And the Miasma to force them to go to even more
Yep.
Ember as well.
Dodger and an Umbra will also take them off that 6.
Yeah.
So
Just to talk to the rare, Selwyn the Fence, move 1 Ember from one of your cards to your pool. A Reef effect that I think is broadly useless in this deck. I don't think there's anything that puts Ember on a creature.
there's a charrette.
Oh,
I
there
think
is a
that's it.
charrette. Very true.
So
So,
probably not going to pay off much.
no, if
Got
we
a
do
lot
see it
better
pay
in
off, I
layers
think
now.
everyone should cheer because that'll be mightily impressive.
It will be Self in the Fence's best day in this deck.
Indeed, it will.
There are 3 poison waves, which is an interesting thing because that is most of the Ember control, the creature control in the deck. Sorry,
It is, but I
which
think
is
against the
not
Floats with
much.
Cleavers, that could be alright because there's quite a lot of small creatures. I think we've talked about some previous deck chats we've done on this deck where there's not many things that are above 4 power in this deck. So if you can get a couple
So
of
that,
poison waves down, you can do some damage.
yeah. So light on the creature control, but might get away with it this time, unlike
Indeed.
in a lot of KOTE decks now operating.
Also, pseudo
And
creature control we have here too is when we're moving into the disc is we have a Hecatomb. Destroy each disc
Hecatomb.
creature. Each player gains 1 for each creature they control that was destroyed this way. A lot of discs in They Who Floats with Cleavers, this could do some damage.
Yeah, so when you have 5 disc creatures of your own, it's pretty good burst, sudden Ember generation. And especially interesting when you combine it with the Arise.
Yeah.
So kill off a bunch of disc creatures on the board, get Ember, and then just Arise and replay all of them.
Yep, and especially when you can play that Arise with a Life Ward and a Ember Imp too, you could potentially wipe their board of any disc they have and then make it real hard for them to play anything else on their next turn.
Yeah, especially when you combine that with the double control the weak.
Yep.
Just really some very disruptive disc turns that can completely shut down an opponent, as discs often want to do.
Indeed, it is. This, like, historically is one that I think that has always had the strongest identity and has always kept their identity very much of just kind of limiting your opponent's options, making it harder for them to kind of take out their game plan and disrupting them. As
Disrupting them. I know that you also made that joke. I just thought it wasn't obvious enough. Apparently,
Big wink.
Moving very swiftly on, lest I embarrass myself further. Shall we talk about They Who Flirts with Cleavers?
We shall, yeah. And I think the thing this deck, if any deck can kind of stop Treachery doing what it wants to do, this deck is going to be very good at kind of knocking it off its game here.
Yeah, it is a very strong all-round deck that we've commentated on a number of matches now, and I think has won convincingly in multiple different ways,
Mm.
which is I think why it's made it this far. And there's a number of things it can do to sort of take out this Coda deck, as later sets often do. So let's start with the triple Pismire.
Yep.
Uh, so each one of those is going to increase key cost by 2 whenever it's on the board because there are no mutants in the Polish deck, and
No.
3 of them will really ramp up that key cost. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Rob1k pays 12 for a key.
No, very few mutants in KOTE generally, and I don't believe any in the houses that we see
Uh,
from Marek. We also see a Vault's Blessing as well to take advantage of this. So each player gains one for each mutant creature they control. Well, there's 8 mutants in Cleavers and no mutants in Marek, so that could be a very large amount of Ember going
yeah,
Cleaver's way to no response.
just a very interesting sort of cross set dynamic that you very frequently see with mass mutation.
Hmm.
But a lot of stuff is built around there being mutants on both sides to balance it out. Then it just becomes incredibly powerful by
Yeah.
itself. You also have double Infernus to start purging those pips.
Yep, you
Um,
do.
and
Also,
then,
just a quick one as well. You have, say, the Resurgence as well to bring back those Pismires. And a quick rare I want to
yeah,
talk about is Xenos Blood Shadow. Elusive, Hazard the Six, Poison, Skirmish, all the keywords. But worth noting in Marek, I don't believe there's a single creature over Hazard 6. So there's nothing that can fight into Xenos Blood Shadow and kill it.
so just going to pretty much stick on the board.
It is indeed,
And
yeah.
that resurgence can also bring back Pismires and Infernuses, or you can get all of the one house back at a time with the Grim Reminder.
Yeah, we do see a
And
healthy
we,
6.9 recursion speed in this
yeah,
deck.
and we've seen Cleavers a few times to pull off some really big Grim Reminder plays because pretty much any house you would happily have all of them in your archive for any given time.
Yeah, so yeah,
So
you see the Untamed getting all those Pismires back, great. In this, getting the double Infernus back, great. And especially the Infernus in this matchup is very good. You know, you've got stuff like the Dust Pixie, 2 Ember Pips on it, very happy to get rid of it. You've got the Too Much to Protect, Ember Pips on them, very happy to get rid of them. You know, with
kind
19
of
Ember Pips in Marek, you're almost always going to have something that is both a card that you're happy to get rid of because it's really annoying, but will also have an Ember Pip on it to just reduce Marek's Ember that bit too.
yeah. The creature control is also very good in Cleavers, Savage Clash, Skixuno, BDQ. Not the biggest deal here against a Kota deck that doesn't really tend towards big boards. And then we have the double Mark of Dis.
Indeed.
Whether double Mark of Dis is as good as double Control the Weak here, I don't know.
I don't think it
Because,
is. If you look at the creatures
no,
in Marek, a lot of them are smaller. You know, you've got, say, the Ember Imps, you've got the Umbras, you've got the Hunting
Hunting
Witches,
Witches.
you know, the Dust Pixies. There's a lot of the 15 creatures that isn't, I think about a third of them aren't targets for Mark of Dis. And it
So
also
it's
means
going to
it's
be,
easier for Marek to play around this too. You know, making sure when they're fighting, they're just saying, right, I want to get these big creatures off the board as quickly as possible, or I want to get them on enough damage whereby Mark of Disses can't do anything to me.
yeah, or you can just discard stuff that you don't necessarily massively need that is big. Like you could just discard Tentacus or the Terror or Snufflegale
Mm.
uh, to avoid that Mark of Dis.
Yeah, indeed.
So, who do we think is going to win?
It's a difficult one. I think I would give my edge to Cleavers. I think it's got enough things to just kind of knock Marek off its game with the Infernuses. It's got some good ways of generating Ember itself that can't be matched by Marek with, say, the Vault's Blessing. You know, it's going to be. I think it's just got just enough in there. But I think we could just as easily see Marek just get off to a brutally fast start and have leave Cleavers in the dust, not being able to catch up. But I would give the edge just to Cleavers.
Yeah, I always hate to say it's going to come down to the draw because it's kind of
It's a bit of a
almost
cop
like,
out, but yeah, it does
yeah,
sometimes.
it's a cop out prediction, and also it's just kind of inherently true of any card draw based game.
Mm.
Uh, but I think you're right in that we could easily see a scenario where Marek runs away with it. But probably, I think in a longer game, and also if I think they played this game 10 times, Cleavers will probably win more of them.
Yeah, I
But
would definitely agree with that. I think with the negative speed that Marek has as well, um, makes it much harder for it to get that ideal draw as opposed to cleavers who can use its efficiency to get a better draw for itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
well, let's see if we are proven right as we now hand back to the KOTE guys as they bring us into the game. Thank you. Hi, guys, and welcome to the game portion of the episode. We
hello.
have Rob1k on the top of the screen, and we have IrieDaily on the bottom of the screen. You want to tell us what decks they're playing? This gives us a little reminder, Callum.
Yeah, so IrieDaily on the bottom is playing the alarmingly named, as ever, They Who Flirts with Cleavers. And Rob1k on the top is playing a Polish deck, which I won't pronounce, but we'll call Marek
Nice.
for the purposes of this.
I've seen They Who Flirts with Cleavers quite a few times now. It's a deck we've commentated on fairly often.
It's very good.
It is a very good deck.
And it's going up sort of KOTE Dis Shadows Untamed.
Yeah.
Which is very good. And that's a pretty good start.
You're always happy to see a Telega straight off the bat, unless you're the opponent, in which case you're generally less happy. And once again here we're seeing a strong start from the Can't Touch This player. You know, we saw Val Jericho in the first game, we're seeing Telega this game.
Yeah, but 2 sloppy lab works is nothing to sneeze at. Some pretty cycling going on.
Yep, discarding the Xenos Blood Shadow there. I see it, didn't quite see the other things that were carded.
We are working off recordings from the KOTE people. Thanks for them for letting us do it, but it doesn't mean that we can't quite check as much things as we might like.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah, hopefully bring you some more live commentary soon. I think we'll try and we're going to be starting to do some Keyboards Premier League rather once that new season starts. Going to try and get some of that done. So hopefully for some of that we'll try and get some live recordings, so we can be checking things like discards and archives during the game.
Obviously, at time of recording, there is still one more chance to qualify, so we will obviously both be in it. But you know, we can record some other people's games too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Callum is teaming with our technical support in that particular qualifier and has left me on my own.
It is a dreadful slight to you as a person.
It is, yeah. I'm very hurt. It's fine. Found new, better teammates. It's all right. Whatever. I don't need you. But we are seeing Rob1k thinking about it. So he saw IrieDaily just kind of mill through the top cards of his deck, get some archives, get some stuff here. Rob1k now thinking, does he want to keep on this Untamed train, or are we going to see some Dis or Shadows? I would be surprised if we saw Shadows, because the Shadows are a very reactive house, and with nothing on Irie's board, it seems like you probably wouldn't want to be choosing that, but Dis or Untamed would be what I'd assume we're going to see.
Unless he's hit into a pretty decent Untamed opening hand, Dis is perhaps more likely.
Yeah, but maybe put it on that Telega just thinking, well, I can put this down, and then if it's still on the board, I get to reap with it, and play a very nice Untamed. We're going to see Shadows, though. We see Special Delivery and too much to protect very early.
A bold early move. There are 2.
So okay.
Yeah, so it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it is noticeable, right?
It definitely is, yeah. But a very quick turn, just a couple of cards played down there. So, God, I think maybe not the best hand from Rob1k here, then, if, you know, you're throwing out too much protect, not something you want to throw out early, but now Special Delivery, only 2 cards. Maybe we're looking at, like, a Dis hand that's very reactive, is what I'm maybe thinking.
Yeah, but a lot of it's, like, quite decent early disruption, right? Stuff like Control the Weaks, Life Wards.
And we do see that Pisma come down. That Reclaim by Nature is going to purge that Special Delivery. But a bit of a cagey turn from IrieDaily there. Only a couple cards from him. Had to give his opponent an Ember because of the Telega. Yeah, got I think Rob1k quite happy to see that move coming out of Irie there.
Yeah, didn't pick up the archives, so probably put some Dis in there.
Yeah, we only see Shadows again. See a Poison Wave coming out. A Relentless Whispers to kill that Pismire. And an Umbra to put Rob1k onto check very early on. End of turn 3.
Yeah. Got to remember IrieDaily gave Rob1k an Ember to put down that Pismire to try and increase the cost.
Yeah, and it's it was a bit of a backfire there, yeah. I suppose maybe he was like thinking, well, it's unlikely I want to play another Shadows turn straight after the previous one he played. But maybe some baiting there from Rob1k. Of course, we don't know what Rob1k had in his hand, but you've got to think he had at least one of those Shadows cards in his hand when he put down that Special Delivery. So, yeah, a little bit of a Rob1k laid a trap, and IrieDaily stumbled right into it. I'm going to see logos coming from IrieDaily here.
Can he get
And we
rid of
see
the
the
Telegar is the first
daughter.
question.
No, not yet. We're going to
Not
see
yet. Yeah,
gaining one ember.
presumably not this turn, otherwise you imagine they would have done it first.
Yeah, unless he's looking to draw into something that can maybe get rid of it. I don't know. Is there anything like a twin bottle mission? Any damage in the logos?
Only really the bouncing Death Quark, and you've got to think that they don't really want to do that.
Or is there any damage pips in the deck at all? It's the only other thing I can think.
No, there aren't.
Okay.
It's got a lot of removal, no doubt, but it's all like big responses. It's stuff like Skixuno, Savage Clash.
Right, okay. And of course, Savage Clash wouldn't
So,
even get rid of that Telegar.
no.
I think resigning himself to the fact he's going to have to give Rob1k a lot of Ember, and he can play that QMX, draw a card. Maybe he's just still looking for that bouncing Death Quark here. And we see the effervescent principle, though, so maybe that's why feeling a bit more free just to give him that bit of Ember, because he knew he was going to effervescent principle it away.
But does discard the Terato.
It does.
So I think clearly was looking for something in that turn. So he played 2 creatures that drew cards and then discarded the third.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense to discard Terato, like neither Daughter nor QMX are a mutant, so it's not going to get an immediate impact. And it's not worth giving Rob1k an Ember just for that.
Yeah, they're almost certainly going to take that out.
Now, I think, well, at this turn, you may theorize maybe Rob1k, but also an Untamed turn seems equally possible. We've only seen that Telegar come down. I'd be surprised if we saw another Shadows turn, though, unless Rob1k has gotten very lucky with the draws. You've got to think he's running low on Shadows in his hand at this point.
Yeah, could see a Dis turn and a Control the Weak to try and get the key across.
Especially, hitting Logos there. I mean, you could fight with the QMX unless it gets destroyed by the Dis from Rob1k. But, I would think hitting into Logos at this point with the Control of the Weak would be quite damaging for IrieDaily's chances. And we're going to see Dis coming out here, and we see the Charette only capturing 2, and Hecatombs to immediately destroy it.
Ooh, no control the Weak, but that is still a pretty grim sight.
Yeah.
2 sort of must kill targets now on the board.
Indeed. So you think Irie's got to be hoping is he maybe got that Skixuno, is he maybe got, but of course Skixuno and Omega, so not really one you want to be playing. You don't have to. An intelligent play here from IrieDaily. The things he's got down here means that while he's got the Control of the Weak, IrieDaily can't be Rob1k. IrieDaily can't use that Mark of Dis at the moment to stick Rob1k into a house. Everything he's got on the board is either damaged enough or has low enough power where the Mark of Dis will simply destroy it and not stick him in a house. So keeping his options open, very good play here from Rob1k.
What do you do here? It's very daily.
If
you've got any logos, I'd be tempted by a double fight, but that's real grim.
Yeah, I mean, is Telegar elusive? I suppose no. So fight the QMX into the Telegar, then the Daughter into the Ember Imp, right?
Yeah, not elusive.
So it depends. It depends if he's got any of the Sporkless. If he's managed to draw into, say, a bouncing Death Quark, I think that would 100% be the play here.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's whether he's done that.
We're getting a pause, so perhaps not a BDQ.
Yeah, I think if it was, that'd be what you go for. I think Savage Clash not great here either. Still leaves that Telegar alive, which is one thing you really do want to get rid of. And you know what's in? I'm going to see Dis coming out here. And Mark of Dis here, just to get rid of that Telegar, still not ideal. And in fairness, those are the only 2 cards he's going to be able to play, though, because of that Ember Imp. Yeah, he's going to be able to knock Rob1k off the check with that Infernus, though.
That's still rough to not be able to get rid of that Ember Imp.
Yeah, got to think maybe that the Relentless Whispers could be going here. It's a very good card for Rob1k, and I'm not sure what else. I'm struggling to think. And Too Much to Protect, I think definitely you want to get rid of.
The TMTP.
Also, significant Rob1k hit that Hecatomb when IrieDaily had no Dis on the board as well, so giving solid Rob1k that benefit.
Yeah, not the biggest Hecatomb. We talked about in the deck chat the potential for a big Hecatomb.
Oh, we were completely wrong. Poison Wave and Telegar being purged here. That is interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I suppose a lot of small creatures in Irie's deck maybe wants to kind of like that Poison Wave could do a lot of damage to Cleavers.
Yeah, for sure. There is also a regrowth. and an Arise, so taking Telegar out of the play permanently is not the worst idea.
No, definitely not. And still knocking Rob1k off that check, which, if I recall correctly, it's been a little bit of time since we did the deck check. I think that's a big part of Cleaver's plan, isn't it? That you want to be kind of taking this game longer.
Yeah, it sort of has the kind of Ember control to really make someone pay for a key. And it has the ability to sort of grind you down and furnace a lot of things out of your deck.
Yeah, which we
And
are starting to
potentially,
see. Yeah, those useful cards like that Poison Wave, like Telega, just being removed. Like Special Delivery as well. Really good one to get rid of.
Yeah, potentially looking for a giant Grim Reminder play really late in the deck cycling.
Definitely. But yeah, so Rob1k taking some thought here. Sound like a broken record, but I've got to predict Untamed here. We've not seen, apart from the Telega, seen no Untamed thus far. And you know, a fight with an Umbra could be nice, but it's nothing that you particularly need. Although I suppose that Untamed can be quite explosive, so maybe saving that Untamed for kind of a perfect storm situation.
Yeah, you're possibly waiting for at least one Hunting Witch. Because there is two, and you've got a bunch of other untamed creatures. So if you're looking at, like, say, a Snufflegator, a Mamook, and a Niffleape, you just kind of really want to hold out and try and get one.
You've got to wonder what's in IrieDaily's archive here as well, because obviously that was archived right at the start of the Collectible Inquiry, so two kind of random cards. It could really be anything, but it's been held for a while now.
We've had all the houses and didn't. Although we haven't seen much Untamed, have we?
No, not so Untamed from either player, I don't think. Apart from that Telega, as I keep saying.
Oh, there was a Sultry Pismire.
There was, yes, the very early Pismire, that's true. And we do see the Resurgence and the Xenos Blood Shadow being taken out early. Clearly, the KOTE team thinking the same thing we were when they first recorded this. Rob1k is going to choose Dis. I've got to assume we're going to get a Reap from the Ember. I'm not going to want to fight that into anything particularly.
So still no Untamed.
No. I think yes. I think now almost certainly that he is just kind of like waiting for that kind of perfect turn. Ooh, we see the Arise returning the Charette to hand. It's going to capture all three of IrieDaily's Ember as this comes down. And the Terror. Oh, yeah. To get the two from the Terror as well.
Yeah, that's a very nice play.
No, I think we've got to see some kind of board clear coming out from IrieDaily here. Otherwise, this could get ugly. You've got four disc creatures that are all very powerful. Nothing really on the board to fight them down.
And it's worth noting that obviously that's not the biggest Arise in the world at all.
No.
But basically did it solely to get that Terror hit.
Yeah.
On the two Ember. So you take a chain, get to Ember.
Yeah, also getting back that Charette as well is pretty handy. It's a 4-power body, which is going to capture IrieDaily's Ember 2, you know, slow him down. I think you definitely take that. You know, yeah, if you had a creature that was like 5 power, create another 4-power creature that captures your opponent's Ember and gives you 2 Ember and take 1 chain, you'd be playing that card every day till Sunday.
Fun fact about the Terror is one of the few knights that is outside of Sanctum.
Yeah, I believe Heavy the Huge is another.
Indeed.
And is Bramo one? I think.
Ooh. I'm going to check now.
I think Bramo is one.
Jack Bramo is a knight. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
I think they're the only... Oh, and the Onyx Knight as well.
Yes.
My knight lore is very strong.
Quote from Champion Anafiel on the Terror. Perhaps the one who attempted to redeem it and gave it knightly training.
Yeah.
There's probably an actual answer for that somewhere in the lore.
But could not be redeemed like Bordan, the Redeemed, who's I think one of the few non-Shadows Thieves, I think.
Indeed. Now only captures. Barely remotely related to stealing.
Yeah. Oh, he's such a bad card. Yeah, I'm going to see Reaps. So you got to think. I think Bouncing Deathguard must be coming here, which it is here. Yeah. Yeah, hitting that. Yep. Of course, hitting the Ember Imp.
Goes for at least 3. I think you hit Infamorph, you hit Infernus.
Yeah, and Pit Demon and Umbra are what I'd get rid of here. I think.
I think so too.
And of course, yeah, hitting that Reap first just to get a bit of Ember up. And yeah, that QMAX gone to the archives. Yep, is gonna. Ooh, it's the charrette. So maybe it has a way of getting to check here. Then I've got to think. Um, Otherwise I can't. Oh yeah, puts the discombobulate. Oh, and stops the stealing with the Umbra as well. Very nice play
Nice.
there from IrieDaily.
So it sets themselves up for maybe a decent check
Yeah,
because you don't go to above 6, you avoid the TMTP, and you turn the stealing off with the discombobulator.
indeed.
So there's not a huge amount that will be able to take you off check.
No, because obviously you can't. If you fight with the Umbra, it doesn't destroy the daughter, so you can't steal. But if you destroy the Umbra, you can't. You destroy the daughter, you can't fight with the Umbra. Very nice play from IrieDaily. I love this play.
Maybe a Mamook.
Maybe a Mamook. Just a
Solitary
regular
crab.
common or guard Mamook, neither imprinted nor mustic.
Indeed. Why do I feel like there's a third type of Mamook that I'm forgetting?
No, there's 3 types of Mamook. There's Mamook Classic, there's imprinted Mamook, and there's mustic Mamook.
In my head, there's like another kind of Mamook, but I'm blanking on it. So
I don't think so. No, I think it's just the 3.
various types of crabs, various degrees of anger.
Yeah, mustic Mamook, obviously the angriest. And we do see too much to protect just for the Ember there. And that's the second too much to protect Gaunt as well, which means IrieDaily can suddenly feel a lot more free to kind of apply as much. We see the Nerve Blast just discarded, obviously, because it can't steal, doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Discombobulator has done a lot of work here then. So you basically stopped 2 Ember being stolen from you with that Discombobulator. Very nice play from IrieDaily.
It's pretty good. Still no Untamed, so if you've got to be thinking that burst is coming.
Yeah. And do we have a key charge? I believe we do. Or a Chota?
No, there's no key cheat in that deck.
Ah, okay. But I suppose not generally having mass amber control, so
Yeah, and we've already seen the effervescent principle come and
we
go.
have. So I think both players now in a position just to go ham really and just be making as much amber as they want to.
Okay, here comes the archives, so we'll see what went on.
Both players have forged a key here. Dominator Bauble coming down, gets a draw into the Inspector. And we see a Snorette. Very nice creature there, just to capture at the end of every turn. Can be actioned to send it away. Then the Infernus. Now, what do you purge here? And it's the Relentless Whispers and the Hecatomb. Interesting.
Yeah, both pretty useful.
Yeah, both useful cards. Leaving both too much protects, though, interestingly. Obviously, very powerful cards, but IrieDaily fine with those cycling back round. The Soul Keeper on the daughter, meaning that if you want to kill that daughter and allow yourself steal again, you're going to lose a big creature to do it.
I just think you play on the fact that Marek is not going to go through the deck more than once a game, really.
Yeah, and I guess with taking the kind of like smaller steals, so taking like the Relentless Whispers, means that if you can too much to protect, but then you can't take that last Ember, so
yeah, so it doesn't
do as much. Yeah.
But yeah, I think in a when you're playing against a deck that has a speed of 0.5, so minus 0.5.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
It really doesn't matter that much, and this way, frequently Logos is the missing piece out of these KOTE decks, and you see Death Shadows Untamed less than you see Logo Shadows Untamed or Logo Shadows Death.
So that is the turn. Now we've now seen half of Rob1k's deck without seeing any Untamed. Will I finally be proved right? Will we see Untamed this turn? I've been calling it for I think the past 3-4 turns now.
Yeah, and you've got to think if this is not Untamed here, not some giant burst, IrieDaily has weathered an initial storm pretty well.
Yeah.
Got off to a rocky start, but has got rid of the Ember Imp, got rid of the Teliga, and has now drawn it back to 1 key, 1 Ember apiece.
He's got the sails up, he's got his hands on the wheel, and he is ready to sail to 7 Atlantean seas. And now we're going to see the Untamed.
Yeah. But no Hunting Witch.
No Hunting Witch. Just playing. Oof. This is not got a nocturnal maneuver. I'm guessing he's going to hit the disc creatures.
Probably.
But yeah, that's not the Untamed turn you want if you're Rob1k.
No, clearly was holding out for a bigger burst and just could not find it. Eventually, when it was like, I've got 4 cards out of 6 now. This just has to happen.
Maybe even has even more here. I mean, hasn't ended the turn yet. It's just deciding what to Exhaust. I would think the Dis would be it, but then I suppose having just played a Dis turn, maybe thinking of, and yet it does hit the daughter as well. Surprised leaving
That's
the
it.
Snorret up there of all the things. I would have thought you'd rather exhaust the Snorret than the Infernus.
Yeah, I would have done that as well. I suppose there's aspects about running it into something so you could recur it in some way.
Very true, very true.
But yeah, I'd have probably gone for the Snorret.
And IrieDaily
But
here,
then maybe there's a reason that they're in the cup final and I'm not.
possibly.
And what's
QMEX coming down. Here we go. Some
and
logos.
I would say this is the first turn where IrieDaily has had a breather, right? He hasn't had to immediately respond to something,
Yeah,
hasn't had to try and counter some immediate threat. So has a bit of time to develop, to sort of reap the daughter, draw some cards, drop down some more creatures, start to build up a board.
yeah, and interestingly, there we saw the left logica discarded rather than played. So clearly, not enough logos left in the deck to make that left logica worth playing.
Yeah, and also we haven't seen a number of quite good things from Cleavers. Like we haven't seen two Pismires, we haven't seen two Mark of Dis,
Mm, yeah,
Savage Clash, Kixuno. So there's a lot of important cards that were still left in the deck that he clearly
definitely.
didn't want to risk discarding.
So yeah, I see Rob1k giving this some thought here. We may see another Untamed turn here. I mean, there's a decent chance he's drawn into more Untamed. Just wants to use that Niffler from that Snufflegator. Haven't seen Shadows in a little while, I don't think either. Have you seen that? But
No, you could see some Poison Waves being useful right now.
yeah, definitely.
Still two of them I think we haven't seen.
We've seen one Poison Wave, but we've not seen the second.
There's three.
Oh, it's three. Oh god, okay. Yeah, we are going to see Dis though. And the Terrifying Snorret, very reasonable play. And we see the Dominator Bauble. That's gotta think that IrieDaily's not chuffed about that. Dominator Bauble, a really powerful card, and
Yeah,
never gonna
we've got a
want it.
decent when you got a decent board going on as well. Did not
Mm,
want to see that poltergeisted away.
yeah. And that Life Ward there, gotta think it's gonna be popped next turn unless IrieDaily can do something about it.
The Reclaim by Nature's gone, so I don't think he has any immediate artifact responses.
I don't think he does.
The problem you have is that also really affects Kixuno. It makes Kixuno kind of bad.
Yeah, because then you kind of have your next turn where you can't play any creatures and you're stuck with the big Skixuno on the board. Very true.
So it's immediate game changer.
Mm. So I've got to think maybe we're going to see Untamed here. You got those Pismires knocking around. Maybe at least one of those is going to go down, increase that key cost, stop Rob1k forging.
Yep.
Uh,
That is. And Infernus is gone already, right?
I
We've
believe we've
seen.
seen at least one Infernus, yeah.
We have, I think. So both Infernuses
I
are
think we've
off.
seen,
You could
yeah, both Infernuses have been used.
yeah, you could easily see a Pismire here.
Yeah.
And
IrieDaily
obviously,
thinking about it. I think a lot of options here. You've got board with like both Dis and logos on, presumably a hand with I'd say like a fair few Untamed cards seems likely at this point. Having a bit of a think, just working out the best way to navigate the choppy waters of Rob1k's board.
we get it that the Hamburg Atlanteans nautical puns are appropriate.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.
We have been listening to a lot of sea shanties recently.
Yeah, yeah. My as people in our little UK community know that my chosen method of focusing when I'm competing in tournaments is I will blast sea shanties at a very loud volume and sing along to them while I'm playing. And it worked pretty well last competition. I went 5-1 with it, so it's something I'm going to carry on doing.
Has provided smooth sailing.
Mm. Yes, yes.
So we have an Ember Spine Mongrel coming down, and yeah, as you predicted, lots of
Yeah, and
Untamed.
we do see that Pismire coming out. Yeah, just to stop the forge and
Discards
discards the
Savage
Savage
Clash.
Clash. Interesting.
Yeah, because I think here your board is better than Rob1k's if you're
Yeah,
Daily.
I think that if that QMX wasn't on the board, I think you 100% would have used that Savage Clash just to kind of like get rid of everything barring that daughter, and then played down the Untamed. It's just because you didn't have a way to get rid of that QMX, and that really kind of prevented the usefulness of the Savage Clash, I'd say.
Yeah, because you've got the discombobulator on the door, so you want it to live.
Yeah, that Ember Spine Mongrel as well. Not the easiest thing to get rid of for Rob1k. You can use the Terror, which will die in the process, or you can use Snufflegator, which will take some damage in the process, but can't get rid of it in Shadows, I don't believe. So bit of a
Not
tricky
without
one.
2 poison waves,
No.
which would be pretty good
Two
right
poison waves
now.
that would also destroy Rob1k's whole board. So
It would, yes, maybe not the best thing, but
yep,
always a board clear is always appealing if you've got the life ward on the board.
indeed. Also, though, with you would not be able to clear Rob1k's whole board as well because you've got that Soul Keeper on the Daughter, so it would also kill the Tentacus. Mutually assured destruction is something that we do have here with double poison wave.
Both players, I think, taking a little bit longer to think than they normally would. This
Yeah,
is the KOTE Grand Final.
indeed it is, and I think like this is the thing that I would say is like if you're in any competitive kind of tournament, whether it is KOTE, whether it's Cape Premier League, whether it's kind of smaller events, we can see the first control the week of the matchup. It's always fine to take a bit of time. I think like if you're just playing a casual game on your lunch break, maybe play a bit quicker. Because bear in mind, your opponent's probably doing the same. But in this scenario, yeah, take all the time you need.
Yeah,
You gotta like
and
think things through.
hits control the weak into Logos because you know the effervescent principle is gone.
Mhm.
So most of your Logos Ember control is in the discard pile.
Indeed, it is.
Uh, Decided happy to give IrieDaily to Ember just to read twice.
Yeah, I think that's a strong play as well. Yeah, I think IrieDaily not anywhere near a key right now.
I reaped once, to be fair. Sorry.
Either way, not close to a key. I think you're just thinking, well, I'm gonna get a lot more use out of this Ember at the moment than IrieDaily is, so just happy to let that go. Seeing some thought here from IrieDaily though, lots of cards in hand, lots of cards on the board. Got that Umbrabot, which maybe you think is it worth reaping with that to kind of get rid of a card and draw a new card. Especially if depending on how much Logos we have in IrieDaily's hand. If he's not got enough to play where he's gonna draw some new cards here, then maybe thinking
Or,
about the Umbrabot.
yeah, we haven't seen the Grim Reminder yet, so they're gonna be as ever thinking around the reshuffle.
Indeed.
Because you don't necessarily want to play 3 cards because then you will lose your ability to Grim Reminder a bunch of things back.
Exactly.
The problem is that we still haven't seen either Hunting Witch or a Dust Pixie from
No.
Rob1k.
So chance for a very big burst from Rob1k, which when it looks like he's about to forge his second key, could kill off the game, given the chance. Unless IrieDaily can redraw into that FPS principle, I believe that's the only kind of like big Ember control he has.
Yeah, that's the only scaling Ember control, I think.
But yeah. So I think we're likely to see some reaping here. Maybe fighting the Umbra is the only thing I could think of. Like fighting if you don't have a way to just damage it. I'd be sorely tempted by that just because, stealing at this stage in the game where Rob1k is in such a dominating position could really kind of like hamper IrieDaily's progress, but maybe less concerned about because you're expecting that Untamed turn.
I could maybe see you trying to fight some disc reaches off the board because you really don't want the second control of the weak to be able to put them back to shack.
Very true. And yeah, and if you fight Sid's Daughter into the Terror, you can kill the Tentacus with that Soul Keeper, so it's a bit of a 2-for-1.
Yeah. Or sort of fight the Q-Mex in, just take out one of them.
Discard the Eclectic Inquiry. That's
Doesn't
interesting.
Grim Reminder stuff doesn't want to archive his top 2
Doesn't
cards
want
that
to
they would then
shuffle.
draw.
Doesn't want to shuffle the deck. Okay, very, very, very astute. And yeah, we do see the Terror being fought there, and we're gonna fight into Niflate. Just just thinning out Rob1k's board, giving him less things to reap with, giving him less things to fight with, just trying to get rest control of that board from Rob1k. Maybe we see the second key forge and the
Here's the
Untamed.
Untamed.
Untamed chosen very quickly by Rob1k as well, which you got to think if you're IrieDaily, you can't be happy about that happening.
Yeah, Hunting Witch 1.
We see Dust Pixie, Hunting Witch. And you can see a regrowth, bringing back a Niflate. There's the Niflate, going up to 7.
And the
A
thing is,
Vigor.
they've been saving a life ward this whole time because now you hit the life ward, check for key 3, so no Infernus can happen, no Pismice can appear,
No, and
and
it's...
life. And I
See,
think that
then
might be it.
IrieDaily
There we go.
concedes, yeah.
Just finishing it out.
Indeed.
So the combination of a pretty strong start with the sort of Teliga and the Embrute combination,
Yeah.
and all of the Untamed coming very nicely at the end.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Like IrieDaily's deck is kind of very much designed to get control of the game and limit what your opponent can do to kind of get that ball control, get that Ember control down, just kind of stop your opponent even getting to that first key. And when Rob1k got that fast start and just stopped IrieDaily being able to disrupt and became the disruptor, that's when he kind of like got control of the game and never really let go. It didn't feel like.
But hey, KOTE Dis still, as it turns out, pretty good.
Still very relevant, yeah. KOTE Dis, I think it's one of those things where I think it'll always be relevant. I think the thing with KOTE is that the set's been around for so long now that, for want of a better term, it's almost been solved. Like, there's a brand of KOTE that will just always work because it's just so fast and so hard to deal with that you just create answers to your opponent. Question your opponent has to answer.
And it's also just, there's so many more KOTE decks in circulation than our other decks.
Yeah.
So the chances of people getting obscenely good versions are much higher.
Exactly. But it's that famous Dis, Shadows, Untamed that just have dominated so many tournaments, kind of, and still dominate tournaments to this day.
And yep, that clinches KOTE 7.
Indeed. It does.
For Can't Touch Dis. So
Indeed, it does.
Congratulations to them.
Yeah, big congratulations to Can't Touch Dis. Played some really strong teams getting here and kind of taking their rightful place as the champions of the Keyforge Online team event. Commiserations to Hamburg Atlanteans, though. Very well played by them too.
Yeah, and we expect great things from both teams in the future in a variety of other tournaments, probably starting with KOTE 8.
Indeed, yeah, KOTE. I think this is the thing that as Screech1 commentaries we can now decided we are going to join and be in amongst them. So if you do play us, feel free to say hi, and we'll love to hear people who are viewers and kind of like hear your feedback and what you think.
Yeah, it's cool.
Also, if anyone else has got any events that they're doing, kind of thing that you want us to maybe like learn some commentary, feel free to kind of drop us a message and let us know. We'd always love to kind of like see new events and do more commentary for stuff.
100%.
Yeah, well, I've been David, Baron von Fabulous Lark.
And I've been Callum, the good Dr. Young.
We've been Screech1 Commentaries. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.